Hi, I'm Linda Robertson, and I work with local poets Sheila Bender and Holly Hughes to organize and present the Northwind Reading Series. I'm pleased to introduce our newest virtual reading. We look forward to the time when poets and listeners can gather safely again in person. In past years, in August, local writers would visit Northwind Arts Center, explore the current exhibits, and choose one or more paintings, photographs, or sculptures to respond to with a poem. A few weeks later, the community gathered at an open mic to listen to and enjoy the poems that were written in response to the art exhibit. Poet Edward Hirsch has said, "Works of art initiate and provoke other works of art. The process is a source of art itself." I hope you'll enjoy the following poems and the art that initiated and provoked them. Special thanks to Kurt Vandersluis for the work required to create this video. Enjoy!
I'm Eva McGinnis, and I was inspired by the painting Snowy Owl by Bethany Rowland. My poem is Snowy Owl Eruption Extinguished. You don't really belong on this burnt landscape any more than you belong in my screeching nightmare, both of us choking on ash dust. I'm flying right behind you, following your singed wings as you swerve and dive, disoriented by the wildfires. Your 5-foot feathered wingspan marks you as a target for the scavenging trophy hunters, as I am prey for the bounty trackers. I remember you from the charcoal paintings I did on the cave walls where we hid millennia ago when the world was colder. You came with a warning of raptors even bigger than you, who didn't just hunt lemmings and voles, but invaded to despoil and pillage everything in sight. They are gaining on us again, pushing us out beyond where our babies can survive. We circle the scorched earth, searching for the once abundant eruption of owls, but instead smash into a wall of stench of thousands of carcasses strewn across the charred landscape. Like the desperate migrants who took their last gamble to cross the sweltering deserts only to succumb to either the circling buzzards or to those with guns and badges. We fly north for the safety of the snow, only to find melting permafrost tundra, smoldering peat, deadly escaping gases, where your rocky nests will no longer shelter you. You turn your gaze on me, demanding to know why. My mouth is filled with rancid cotton balls. I cannot choke out an answer. In a sweat of shame, I linger on the edge of awakening. You careen into your extinction, where I too soon will follow.
Ravenwright, Orcas Island by Catherine Kennedy, inspired by Stephen O'Donnell's painting Lift. Driving along the rutted gravel road, windows rolled down to catch whatever air moved in the hot August afternoon, we hear a raucous cacophony break out in the forest. The only other time we had heard such a noisy congregation was when a blue-crested kingfisher fell unconscious to the ground, and dozens of crows swarmed above it. "Bird down," they screeched, whether in warning or announcing a feast, we couldn't tell. We stop the car in tangled roadside blackberry and creep on foot toward the sound. Something is raising dust in the abandoned corral of an old deserted homestead. As we crouch silently in the brush trying to raise no alarm, we see three ravens facing each other on the vertices of an invisible triangle, iridescent blue-black in the center of the unshadowed enclosure. They crouch and leap straight up with outstretched wings, then stomp the earth, over and over repeating the pattern. Like the fancy shawl dancers of the Salish peoples, their women dance in circles, billowing sparkling scarves over arms raised like wings, as if in swirling flight. Then crow hop in the four directions to the beat of a stretched deer hide. As the ravens flash their wings, then hit the ground with nimble-clawed feet, golden dust motes rise, glittering skyward. Above them in the draping cedars, an assembly of ravens like sagacious tribal elders craw and whoop and exhort, accompanying the dancers below, telling their corvidious tale to the eavesdropping woods. We are deaf to the narrative, but not to the winged energy and collective purpose. Some say that messages from Creator are buried in the feathers of a raven. Are they reenacting its transfiguration from child to bird, snapping up the old fisherman's ball of light and flying through the smokehouse hole to illuminate the world? Perhaps the ravens are telling the history of the Loch Timish, who once wandered this land. Perhaps the birds are invoking their spirits with a potlatch dance. The one who gives away everything becomes the richest. All I know for sure is astonishment beyond words, and all I can say is Hayashke. Thank you.
This is my reflection on seeing Chris Maynard's Flicker Stars, wild turkey feathers and black dots at the Northwind Gallery in Port Townsend, Washington. I'm Kate Davis. I was taken with its delicacy, its three-dimensionality, but as I stood before it, looking, joining with it, it morphed into an almost sinister possibility. Had the black dots been punched from the delicacy? Perhaps the action of shotgun pellets. And had they brought the wild one down? Such a human way to see our wild kin, beautiful, enigmatic, as long as you stay in your sphere. And if not, you will be shot. Period.
Hi, my name is Adelia Ritchie. The painting I've chosen is Rehearsal, a beautiful oil painting by Jean Edwards. Moving moment. Under a soy ceiling, we dance. The workshop cat feigns nonchalance. We are molten chocolate in liquid, bubbling motion. Latin, Turkish, Persian jazz percolates in old-time coffee pot rhythms. Rain pelts the roof. Quick staccato beats rush to escape the stalking sunshine. Smiles and sweatiness, stretched sinews in smoothness and fluidity. Furs and silk scarves decorate the warm and safe tranquility of our sequined Sufi state. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ruth Marcus. The painting titled Seed by Stephen O'Donnell inspired me to write this poem. If I had wings, my crow self would soar above grassy lawns and scan for gems with my periscopic eyes, then dive for one pearl unseen by the gardener perched on his ride-upon mower. Now is time to make an eco-choice, one misplaced organic gem among the eternal string of pearls. Thank you.
This is Jane Merrick responding to the painting Meander by Linda Tilley with my poem, Meander Erasure. Meander Erasure. Humanity must take responsibility to move forward, not be satisfied. A stream's meander is a metaphor, a kind of mess undercutting the shoreline eventually. A channel that once watered plants is no more. It seems life always meanders, constantly under pressure. We have to learn to stand upright, to progress in spite of the material of which we are made. I have found convention is a construct meant to reassure that we humans delineate the world. Of course not. Our understanding is sidetracked. Adapt or perish before the final flow takes us away.
My name is Joanne Clarkson, and I'm a poet living in Port Townsend, Washington. It was very difficult this year to choose which piece of art to respond to with all the beautiful, memorable pieces in the Northwind Gallery this August. I finally settled on Margaret Woodcock's collage entitled Remains of Pandora's Box because I felt like these days, and as a retired RN, that I needed to craft a contemporary response. I also love the use of myth in art and literature, and of course, Pandora's Box started with the stealing of fire. So this is in response to Remains of Pandora's Box, collage by Margaret Woodcock, and my poem is called Pandora 2021. Some mornings are haunted by Pandora's box, smoke stolen from fires far away, erasing the coastline, choking the shore. I pray for a western trade wind, imagine burning limbs, agonies caused by what once was a gift. So much of myth and history blur as denial lifts a corner and a variable virus breathes. I believe. As a nurse, I believe in suffering and also in miracles of ease. Single wing of crimson sunset, and as darkness falls, the owl of Bach, nightjar of Beethoven, crow named Tchaikovsky. At dawn, the flicker of Mozart, geese of Ravel, very varied thrush with a voice not unlike the mind of Haydn. Oh, Pandora, your gift was not breasts or cheekbones, not burn unit or ICU. Something in between so sweet, it might be science in the throat of Chopin's sparrow. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Judith Duncan, reading a poem inspired by Apron Number 6 by J. Dean Rickner. Mother's apron. She begins each day with a clean apron, a uniform she dons before entry to the kitchen station of her duty to prepare meals that sustain, not nurture. Of pure white cotton, the starchy fabric mimics her spine, stiff as cardboard and pristine, unspoiled as her mind. Sashes longer than needed are gathered at the front to form an extravagant white bow, the only flamboyance she allows. This shield she wears in the battlefield of her house against the hot grease spatter of words, disappointments, unfulfilled promises. First, from her father, then a husband, she continues to honor and obey. Tiny spikes and splinters from her skinny children bounce off her broad-aproned bosom. In the apron pocket, her hand clutches. It is rumored she holds a prayer book. Not true. She carries a small blue bottle full of her tears. Thank you.
Hi, this is Charlie Glick, and my ekphrastic poem was inspired by Bethany Rowland's painting What Once Was. What once was you, what once was me, what once was river flowing and valley fecund, and knowing the melody of the months. The true measure of a mile, a second, a lifetime, a message, does not express itself in units, nor in gory gash of jets through wind's breath, nor in riches less or more, saved or spent. Safe we stood at last, or so we thought, in autumn's fallout fields. Fresh off the bus, we crossed dusk and tundra to have a picnic. What a shock to peel off N95s at River's thunder, to see her flight, her Arctic eyes, the cost. You must turn back, she said. Nothing is lost.
This is Al Kitching reading my poem Moon Dancer, which was inspired by Stephen O'Donnell's painting Seed. Moon Dancer. The trees are silent this night, the only wind the whoosh of raven wings, shadow figures invisible in the dimming dark. Through fog-shrouded forests of cedar, fir and hemlock they fly, across meadows of brown grasses and blackberry, over islands of basalt, to a single tree, a giant madrone, perched high atop a weathered outcropping, roots thrust deep into the slanted broken rocks that surround a mirror pool as ancient as the land. Silhouettes of the madrone's sinewed limbs arc through Orion's bright belt. A discourse of shadows fills its branches, blocking the yet unfaded stars. All await moon's arrival into the mirror pool, its dark polished surface undisturbed. Out of the soft rustle of feathered beings, one raven separates from the tribal darkness. This most cunning of birds, trickster, creator, and powerful moon dancer, drops lightly from the madrone to the worn rock path rimming the pool. Embracing moon's approaching light with upraised wings, raven utters a loud, exultant croak, unshaping the gathered silence. Feathered muscles taut, he dances, crouching, prancing, leaping, wings lifting him up, a dervish of whirling blackness, angled, twisting upward, twirling in the silvered air. Ebon feathers spread wide, limbed in moonglow, he leaps high, higher, higher, into the quicksilver air above the moonlit path. Head back, saber beak wide, he laughs, a deep croak of anticipation. Black eyes catch the arriving moon's reflection, still fat with light and splendor. Once more he jumps, iron wings spread wide over the mirror pool, the captured moon's reflection distorted and diminished from the breath of raven's wings. Head cocked, he chuckles softly at moon's small size, its waning light absorbed into darkening waters. With a final leap into the colorless dark, raven croaks a parting ululation to the assembled of the night. Then slowly, carefully, he leans down, gently plucking the pearl-gray moon from the quiescent pool. Bowing, smiling slyly to his gathered brethren, raven bounds upward, wings snapping the silent air, disappearing into the vastness, carrying his precious burden back into the turning night.
J. Johnson. The title of my poem is These Horses. I'm responding to the exhibit If I Had Wings in a sculpture by John and Robin Gumelius. The name of their sculpture is Winged Thoughts Fall to Earth as Stabled Horses. These horses. Golden Fleece, Asteroid, High Flyer, Adios. These are the horses of fortune. These are the horses of fire. And then there are horses of fantasy, like the blue one stalled in midair, that waited for your quarter, that waited to take you up and down and circling around the sound of the calliope, your joy reflected in every mirror. But these horses are harnessed, bridled, shod, standing from sunrise to sundown, waiting for a beach ride. Rusty, buck, monotony, mercy, these are the horses of dust. These are the horses of patience. Which suffer for our pleasure? The one we choose or the ones we leave behind? Pick one. You have to if you want to go. You must whip her 'cause she's slow. You trod down the worn path, the slope of her neck moving right to left, left to right. She stumbles and stops to gather the tender grass between her teeth. You stroke her and let her be, while dreaming of riding the horses of wind, the white Andalusian spread at the tail end of Segovia, where Javier says his horses know their horses. But she knows only the bridle and the bit, the saddle and the whip, and knickers as you bend to the shell of her ear. You tell her there are miles of moonlight, and the 3 brightest stars form the constellation of her name. Pegasus, you whisper as you drop the reins, and she opens her wings.